Before I proceed with the welcoming remarks, first of all, I just need to establish who is present by starting with directorates, divisions, etc., particularly when it comes to delegated functions. We know that regional council is a family of government officials at the regional level. And of course, knowing that the decentralization process is also taking its course, we have functions that already have been delegated to the regional councils, and of course, others we follow in due course as time goes. So I will mention the divisions, and by doing so, I will like to see all the staff members that belong to that particular divisions standing up. And as a matter of information, we need to know that in terms of decentralization, when a function is delegated to a regional council, it does no longer belong to a ministry. Because that function, that ministry, the parent ministry, has delegated that function to the regional council. Because I have noted in most of our correspondences, you see Ministry of Gender, what. The reason why there's a ministry is headed by a minister. Now, if the function is delegated here, you are under the regional council. That's why it becomes divisions. If it's having a directorate, it becomes a directorate. And it goes on. Those are just basic information for us to know. Sometimes we take information for granted. Perhaps we're not informed. And my message for the new year will be very short, but that's a simple task for me, just to welcome you all here, since I will not be the main speaker. But nevertheless, I need to share with you, colleagues, about my appreciation, particularly for the commitment and hard work that you have shown throughout the year 2022. We have gone through various difficulties, but at least today we are here in the year 2023. Now, first of all, I just need to share this information, particularly when it comes to the mandate of the Regional Council, to which all functions that are designated to be delegated as provided for under Decentralization Enabling Act, that is Act number 33 of 2000. Some are already on board and others are still coming. The others that are likely still to come, we have the Directorate of Health, Division for Labor, Social Welfare, and of course the DAPIS under Agriculture. Those, they are at advanced stage so that they can also come under the Regional Council or be delegated to the Regional Council. Now, the mandate of the Regional Council is very simple and clear. That is the principal mandate. The rest plays supportive role. That is to plan for the development of the region for which each regional council has been established for. And this is now in terms of socio-economic activities or socio-economic planning. And it is important to note for us that that mandate of the Regional Council is provided for under the Regional Council Act 22/1992 as amended, is equivalent to the mandate of the National Planning Commission at national level when it comes to planning. The only difference is resource allocation. Because at the regional level, we plan and we still send it to the National Planning Commission via our line ministries for resource allocation. And that is the development budget that we refer to, because that is the one that makes the difference in our lives. The salaries that we work for, that is something else. That is for personal growth and so on. But for community, the development budget. And having said that, I have observed throughout our operational activities that at times we are called upon, we are challenged by decision-making issues. And as technocrats, we need to ensure that our decision-making processes are consistent and procedural. Decision-making does not fluctuate like a currency. Because if you ensure your decision-making principles to fluctuate like a currency, then you are not a public manager. As technocrats, all our functions are prescribed by a particular legal framework. That's the reason why we need to be specific when it comes to decision-making processes, where we have to leave out discretions. Because when you deal with issues at hand, first of all, you need to establish what is the legal framework that regulates that particular activity that is calling upon you to take a decision. Not just to say this is how we have been doing it. A practice does not make it right. Unless that practice is in compliance with the law, then obvious, that will be right. The reason why I'm saying this is I have seen many occasions officials, they want to take decisions through emotions. You will never take a rightful decision when or through an emotional aspect. As officials, as technocrats who are entrusted to administer this region, particularly when it comes to implementation of government programs, compliance is very important. Particularly when it comes issues that involves public procurement, contract management. The decisions that we take on site or wherever we find ourselves, it should be consistent with the provisions of the law. We do not just go on site and say because we want A and B, perhaps it was omitted, then you just already take a decision on spot. That decision will be nil and void if it did not follow the proper legal framework, particularly under the Public Procurement Act. And these are some of the things as officials that we need to learn. As we give, most of us, as I indicated earlier on, we give support services under planning, which is the principal mandate of the Regional Council, or support services to teaching and learning when it comes to education. Because all other officials who are here, the majority of them, they are based at head office. Our task is to give support services to those in the classrooms, because that's where education matters. But then the decision that we take that affects those who are in the classrooms, that decision needs to be consistent with the provision of the law. We do not only take decisions because we are in decision-making positions. No. When you are in a decision-making position, you guide others. That is our role, to guide. That's why in government, when you are recruited, promoted, you are on probation for 12 months. The reason why putting a person on probation is for the employer to guide that particular employee. And in this case, the employer is any immediate supervisor of that particular staff member, becomes an employer. You are entrusted to guide. We do not only need to assess and find shortcomings. That is a new position, a new staff member. We guide the person to assess whether the person is trainable or not. Is the person suitable for that position? Without attaching any emotions to that process. Because by doing that, that's how we capacitate the institutions we present. And countries only develop through that process capacities of technocrats, because we deal with the implementation process. The budget is allocated. It's upon us to ensure that it is successfully implemented. So meaning that the success of the country depends upon us as technocrats. Because we are the ones who deal with the implementation. When the Minister of Finance tables a budget, say $50 billion for the current financial year, just remember that the success of implementation of that particular budget rests on our shoulders as technocrats. Because for the politicians, they have done their part in resource allocation, making choices, how much to give where, why. Once it is allocated, it's no longer the business of politicians. It is ours now as technocrats to ensure that we implement. And through that, that's the only way we also gain experiences. Because every year that passes by, as for an employee, for a technocrat, we're supposed to gain meaningful experience that will pass over to others. But yet, some of our colleagues, perhaps they refuse to learn. Every year, same mistakes, year in, year out. We don't know for what reasons. We deal with routine activities. Routine activities are supposed to be mastered. At least after 3-4 years, we're supposed to know, in this particular case, this is how we need to do it. That's why we have others as professionals and expertise in various fields, because they can recognize the similarities easily for what they have gone through. Now, if you cannot recognize similarities, now every activity that comes on your table, it looks like it's a new activity. It means you are learning every day. Then it will become difficult for us to perform the standard that we are expected. Having said that, as I indicated earlier on, I'm not the main speaker for the day. Colleagues, at last, let me extend my personal compliments for the year 2023 to all of you. Thank you very much.